All right, I'm going to try and shield myself from the wind a little bit at least, but well, we made it to the final day of Gamicon 2026. Carl and I decided to drive in ourselves today rather than carpooling in with Glen and Corey, just so that way we can leave straight from the convention to head home. The freeway is just a few minutes from here, so it'll be an easy hop onto the freeway. Nothing major planned for today. We got a few games that we'd like to play, but nothing real heavy like we had yesterday. Just a couple of quicker games. Definitely looking forward to getting home, sleeping in my own bed. I don't mind couch surfing, but at my age, that's a little tough to do for more than a couple of nights. But looking forward to getting a few more games played before heading home.
My name is Chelsea L. Dean. I'm a artist out of Tiffin, Iowa, and my husband and I were big giant nerds, and so we make a bunch of nerdy stuff, and I do, like, I would say 75%, he does 25%, he does like the 3D printing stuff, and I do all of the other things. One of the new things that I did this year is I got on the whole Rebel Bird bandwagon, and I did a Rebel Goldfinch logo that Raygun contacted me and asked if they could use, and I said, yeah, sure. I didn't want any compensation for it, but they sent me some free t-shirts, which I then also donated to, we're at Gamicon right now, so I donated those to the HeyCap charity auction, but I've also got some merch that I'm selling, jewelry, key rings, stickers, magnets, that kind of stuff. And half of the profits from the stuff that I'm making is going to the Iowa Migrant Movement for Justice. So I'm going to have all of that stuff on my website, studioldeen.com, in the coming week. And so you can place your orders there. I've also got an online portfolio. You can check out the type of work that I do. I'm open for commissions. Just shoot me an email and let me know what you want me to make for you.
All right. Hi, I'm Sean Howard with Fallen Minion Studios here today. We have a brand new game we're taking to Kickstarter here in May, Kill Chain. It is a cyberpunk hacking game set in the not so or very far distant future, depending upon how dystopian you are and things, where 5 major corporations run the entire world. Those 5 major corporations, Spire, Argo, Nano, etc., everyone works for them, with the exception of you. You are leader of a hacker syndicate, where you use your workers to go out to the dark web, gain data, i.e. your bits, as one resource, or do crypto mining to gain crypto. You then use those resources to go out, buy better cards in the dark web, and deploy viruses and things like that, which you put along your development track. When you develop them far enough, you can deploy them to the corporations, earning more resources, more viruses, etc., building up your hand. It's worker placement, deck building, and yeah, we're taking it to Kickstarter in May.
Left. Just got on to I-80, heading home. We got a few games in this morning, mostly trick-taking games. Today was the day of takers, I guess.
Sunday, we
yeah. These guys played. What was the first one you guys played? Trick Shot?
Trick Shot with a Q, not the hockey version.
Okay. It was a pool themed, billiard themed.
Billiard themed trick taking game with a lot of variables. Pretty crunchy for a trick taker, but really interesting and quite fun.
It looked like there were a lot of different things going on when I was watching. I mostly kind of wandered around the hall. I had a few vendors that I wanted to make sure to talk to today before leaving. But they did pull me in for at least a round of Schadenfreude.
That sounds right.
I never know how to say that. But that was a very interesting trick-taking game also, where you are trying to have points but not go over 40. Because if you go over 40, you lose. You bust, and then the game ends, and whoever has the most points at that point is the winner.
Yep. And that's one where you win the trick by being second place.
Right. So everything's about coming in second with that one. It was a fun game. I would like to play it more. We only played it basically one round of it, and Glenn went out in one round. So we didn't really get to see... or at least I didn't get to see too much of the game at that point. What else? We played Pinata from All Play. That one was a much more kind of standard trick-taking game in terms of like how the game works. But you are winning tricks. It's a must-follow trick-taking game. You win tricks. As soon as you've won your third trick, though, you are out of the round, and you score points based on how many tricks have been won total around the table. But if you are the last one to go out, then you only score the tricks that are in front of you. So again, it's one where you want to kind of push your luck in terms of how long you want to stay in before you go out, so that you can score the most amount of tricks without being the last one left. So that one was fun. That was one that I could see bringing out to people who are maybe new to trick taking.
Yeah.
A lot less complex rules on that one. And then the last one we tried was Torchlit, another all-play game. This one was a trick-taking game, but it had a dungeon crawler theme. I mean, essentially, you're kind of like bidding on your number of tricks you're going to take, but instead of bidding on the number of tricks, you're bidding on your movement. And there are different ways you can manipulate how far you move, and you're going to be able to kind of also manipulate how many points are available for each spot along the dungeon path that you're going down. That's another one that I would really like to try to play again. I can see that one being very interesting, and I would like to kind of get more out of that experience just to see. I also really liked the aesthetic of that one. I really liked how the cards looked. They had the red cards are the trump suit. They're dragons, and it's nice metallic foil cards. They look great. As far as Gamicon itself, I've got some pros and I've got some cons. There were a lot of things that I liked. First of all, everybody that I met there was super friendly. Real quick, shout out to Andrew and Jess. We got to hang out with them for a bit. Andrew taught you Galactic Cruise yesterday. We've kind of known them through our friends Glen and Corey for a while, and so it was nice to see them again. Also, shout out to Justin, who taught us all the trick-taking games this morning, and shout out to Kelly, who taught me City of the Big Shoulders yesterday. So again, everybody that we met there was super friendly, very nice. The gaming space was pretty large. There was plenty of open tables. The hall itself was maybe a little bit smaller than Grand Con, but not by much. But there weren't any or at least it didn't look like there were as many like satellite rooms. They had a separate space for the store and the auction, and then there was another space where they had computers set up for like video games and things. But the main hall itself was just a little bit smaller than Grand Con, I would say. The convention center itself is very nice, pretty clean. The bathrooms were kept fairly clean.
Yeah.
For a convention, at least.
We're fine for having 600, 700 people in and out.
And the convention center itself is right on the river, so nice view, cute place. Like the area was nice. The auction and the resale store, I guess you could probably speak to that a little bit better than I could. I didn't put anything in the auction, but
yeah, it was neat. I appreciate how they set it up. It was just small. The auction, I guess, ended up going a few hours. So that was kind of neat. The store itself, I was hoping there'd be more things to buy and peruse, but it was really just a couple of tables, and honestly, I think Glenn and I had half the stuff that was being sold coming from the two of us. So, yeah, a little disappointed in that. I was hoping to see like a nice retail market or something, but room to grow. It was organized well. The guy who set it up was great, very communicative. Overall, it was an interesting auction. Had a chance to look at what was available ahead of time. There really wasn't a lot that I was interested in. It was, some charity items and some older games or bundles of things that I don't know. I would have no interest in picking up, but it was entertaining. They did a good job running it, and
Yeah, the auction was fun to watch.
Yeah.
They had like a lot of charity items in there also, so it was always kind of fun when one of those would come up because people would bid those up quite a bit more. So that always gets a little bit more exciting. The play to wins. I kind of like I like the fact that for the play to wins, everybody at the table gets a chance to win it. So everybody that played the game gets a chance to win it, not just the folks who swiped their badge.
yeah, that was nice.
I think that's an improvement on the way that like Grand Con does it. Grand Con, the person that checks out the game is the one that has the opportunity to win the game. I like the fact that everybody that played the game gets a chance. A couple of the things that I don't run a convention, so take whatever I'm about to say with a grain of salt. But I've been to quite a few of them at this point. Did volunteer with Grand Con for a while, and so these are just. I did notice a few things that I think maybe could be improved on. First of all, the branding was a little strange. Guys, first of all, I'm not even sure if it's pronounced Gamicon or Gamicon,
Yep, not sure.
which leads to some confusion right away. The fact that it was Gamicon Bromine, also a little odd. That's a choice. That's fine. I guess what they do is they name it based on, so whatever number it is, it's that atomic element. Okay, I guess it just would have been much easier to give it a number. I guess.
Yeah. And I know it was very confusing to me because when I signed up and was going there, I assumed it was in a city called Bromine. Like, I didn't realize what they were doing until we got there and they had this set up, and I'm like, oh, okay, we're in Coralville, but now I get it.
Yeah.
But it's
So,
kind of,
like-
I guess, like they're inside.
Yeah.
So,
Again, that's a
joke.
choice, but then if you're going to do that, I guess let's lean into that, because on their poster they had a pirate ship, and then on their T-shirt they had a dragon.
Yeah.
So it just, if everything felt a little bit all over the place as far as that goes. Again, all of that is kind of a creative choice, and if that's the way they would like to do it, that's cool. I think the biggest critique I would say that I have is the fact that they don't use tabletop events to its full potential. When you buy a badge, you buy it on tabletop.events.com. And that's how you sign up for like events and stuff too.
Yep.
But then they shut that down. Was it 2 weeks ahead of time? A week? 2 weeks?
Might have been 2 weeks. Definitely at least a week.
And anything that you want to sign up for after that is done with paper. They have a table setting outside of the hall, and you look for any open spaces that you want, and you sign up for it on a sheet of paper. It seems like that creates more confusion and frustration than just using, if it's already in tabletop events anyways, why make extra work for yourself? I would say the same thing goes for pre-registration too. Showing up to get your badge, they shut down badge purchases ahead of the convention, and they physically print them all out and alphabetize them, and then when people show up, they go and find them. To me, it seems like it would be much easier just to print upon arrival. When somebody shows up, you scan your QR code, it spits out your badge, and you're ready to go. There's no going to look for it. It's not a problem in a small convention like this necessarily, but if they have a busy day, or if their numbers start to grow and they have a lot more folks showing up, that could really slow down your line. I mean, unless you have really good people working it, I guess.
To be fair, though, the other way, you potentially run into the problem of what if your printer breaks? And you're doing
Sure.
it all on demand, and you're relying on...
Yeah, so ideally you don't have just one printer.
Yeah.
The library was iffy.
So this would be my biggest area of improvement, I would say.
Yeah.
The play to win section was really solid. They had some really good stuff there. Some interesting games, some nice mixture of lighter games, heavier games. But outside of the play to win, the actual library was rough.
I would say disappointing.
Yeah.
Very few, like, what I would consider, like, hot games. Most of them were pretty old titles. Did we play any games out of the library itself?
No.
Aside from, like, play-to-win stuff?
Nope, just some play to wins, and then...
Almost everything we
brought our
played,
own.
we brought our own games to play because their library is sparse. It doesn't have to be a huge library, but it should at least be well curated. Yeah, those were kind of my biggest critiques of it. At the end of the day, what it kind of boils down to is, if their goal is to grow the convention, it seems like they may need to modernize their processes a bit. Maybe they don't want to grow. Some conventions would prefer to stay small. If that's the case, cool, more power to them. But if they are looking to grow into, a convention that sees 1,000, 1,200, 1,500 attendees every year, I think you would be doing yourself a big favor to try to kind of update your processes a bit and update your library. The vendors were cool. They had a lot of great vendors. Not a ton of, like, gaming, like, I guess, game-specific stores there. There were a couple. A lot of other stuff. The other vendors were kind of, like, nerdy adjacent. A lot of 3D printed stuff. There was a booth that had a lot of really cool woodworking things. Decor, I guess. But they also did board game tables, which looked nice. Now the hotel, hotel convention center where the convention was happening, has a bar and restaurant inside of it. But if you wanted anything else, you couldn't just walk there. You had to get in your car and drive. Not a major deal, but it's nice. That's what I really enjoy about like Origins, having the North Market nearby and being able to walk down there to grab food, or walking across the street to Barley's and stuff. As nice as the convention center was here, the proximity to other stuff to do was not great.
They did have a concession stand in the vendor hall where you
Yes.
could get food.
But it was your typical, concession stand convention fare. So,
Get sodas, pretzels,
Yep.
chicken tenders.
yeah, probably some, hot dogs, stuff like that. So there was food there, you just didn't have much in terms of options. But I guess I will close out all of that by saying I had a lot of fun at this convention. Like, we played a lot of games.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of on par with how many games we play when we go to like Grand Con. This is a sit down at a table and play games all weekend kind of convention. So, and those, I love those conventions. I don't get to do that at Origins or Gen Con as often. It's pretty rare for me to sit down and play a game at Gen Con. So I love having conventions like this that are nearby that we can go to. I would consider coming back to this one, especially for the price that you pay. Like, it's a pretty inexpensive weekend badge.
Yeah, that is another pro. It's a very affordable, very well priced convention as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess we'll leave it at that. We're gonna drive home for 6 hours. And we'll pick you back up again when it's time to go to Origins.
And thanks again to Glen and Corey for hosting us for the weekend.
Yes, thank you. I'm glad you said that. Thank you. Yes, thank you, Glen and Corey. We really appreciate it.